Here we go. So welcome again, everyone, to CYBR1000. This is our final week together in our workshop. And this again is your grant-funded workshop that was made possible through the state. And so as we move into the final week here, there'll be a number of things that I'd like for us to go through. And namely, let's see here, just going to share my screen out. Namely in week 8. So again, everybody to access all the labs and everything. I think most people that are at this stage of the game know what they need to do right inside of the Canvas. Just to access all the labs and quizzes. And this is really it, for this week. So we have a lab and a quiz. And for module 8, this should be open here, which it all is, it looks like. And then there's another little quiz in module 9. So this is pretty light. This is a really light week period. So it's just kind of reading and going through a little lab and a couple quizzes. And that's really it. And then the last one, the important one out here is the final exam. So this is the final workshop exam. This is not the final comprehensive CompTIA exam. But this is just the preparatory exam. It's kind of like a practice exam is what it is. And there's another exam up here called the midterm. So make sure everybody takes that one. And again, I'll send out a reminder in the announcements to make sure everybody does this. So it also is important, since we're talking about where we are, just prior to the recording, a question was asked about, how are people doing in the course? I think those who are active and working towards the workshop goals are doing pretty well all in all, and that's great to see. And of course, then there are those that, for whatever reason, decided to not do anything, and that's up to them for part of that. But I want to come back to an announcement here that's important for us to take a look at. And that is a recent, I think I sent this out last week after I spoke with the organizer for the grant with MCD there with the grant funding. So this is an important one. If you did not yet see this email, or this, not an email, but yeah, it probably came through as an email to you, but it'd be more in I'll call it a work or class announcement, or workshop announcement. So these are some things that you must do. This is not according to me. This is according to Muhammad Amin, who said it was setting a lot of this stuff up for you. So a couple things to do is, one, you have to stop by his office and provide your social security number and state ID. So this came directly from him to me, that he wanted me to share this with you. And then secondly, that you all need to complete all labs, quizzes, and exams in the workshop. These two are mandatory so that you receive your grant incentive money. Apparently there's grant incentive money that will get allocated to you all, but only if you do everything that's expected with these two items, predominantly from what he told me, to receive that, in addition to receiving your voucher for the CompTIA Security Plus voucher. So that is valued at probably $300. So that's a pretty cool thing. But in order to get the incentive money and the voucher, you need to stop by his office if you haven't yet done so before the end of the workshop, which is on August 24th, to provide your social security number, state ID, and complete all the labs, all the quizzes, the midterm, and the final exam, the practice exam that we were just looking at. Those are things, according to him, you must do. So I will let you figure out how best to get into the office, and then the rest of it is just on you guys to work through the labs and the quizzes and take the exams. And so a little bit more on that is in the announcement that you can see, that you probably already saw. If not, for those watching the recording, you can see that right here as well. Are there any questions that people have about this announcement at all? Okay. All right. So that was one. Oh, yep, go ahead.
I was trying to pick up my voucher tomorrow because I leave the state for the rest of the month. But that's why I asked you about the labs is it okay if I still pick it up tomorrow and show him a screenshot of my like the lab report?
Yeah, if you want to hang on when we're done, we can figure out something for that. So the vouchers, the actual exam vouchers will be something that we will be routing to him. So, he could email those to you. Those will be kind of in email form. So you wouldn't necessarily have to get a paper voucher for that.
Oh,
But
okay.
yep. So once I receive those, well, so I'm working with CompTIA and they're delayed in getting us those vouchers a little bit. So once I receive those, I will pass those on to Muhammad Amin, and then he will get those to you in whatever manner that, however he wishes to do that. So, but yeah, so what he's going to end up doing is when the workshop ends on Sunday night, the 24th, he wants a write-up from me, long story short, a report, a progress report for what everybody did, how they did, and then he will determine who receives incentive money and and then, who receives the vouchers for that. So that's all I know. I'm just on the instructional side here, bringing in guest speakers, but on the administrative side, those are things that he is expecting of you all for that. So yeah, hang out at the end, and then we'll go through it and see what we can uncover there for you. Okay, other questions that people may have?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes, Ismail, go
So
ahead.
I know it says by the end of class on the 24th of August, but like, is that the day we should stop by the office? Like until then or after? Like, can you go over that one more time?
Yeah, so I guess if it were me, I would try to stop in before the end of the workshop on the 24th, because the state has our workshop from when we started to August 24th. And so I think it would be good just to stop in and give Mohammed Amin or his office, whatever it is there, your social security number and state ID. Just give him that, ideally, if you can this week, or make arrangements with him for that. So, I don't think he's going to be turning everything in on, the 25th or anything like that for the state, but he needs some time to process a few things, I guess is what I'm saying. So I would do your best to try to stop in there before the 24th, but at least contact him or his office there and ask, how you need to, or how you can do that, if this week is a challenge to get in there. You might be able
Understood. Thank you.
to, yep, you might be able to email it or call him on the phone or something too. I don't know. He just mentioned to stop by his office. That's what he told me to let you guys know on that. But yeah, do try to have everything done Sunday night if possible, by midnight, labs, quizzes, all that stuff. And then your completion percentage, like he'll see if you were, for example, in our syllabus, in our course document. Let's take a look at that. Let's just open this up here so we can all see. So this is what he will get from the course from me. Ultimately, I'll have to give him a report on where everybody's at. So people will receive, all of you in the workshop will receive a score of either excellent, which is, think of it like an A, but we're not really recording A letter grades or anything like that, but rather he wants to see your achievement scores, or whether you did good work, average work, or developing, which developing means, there's a lot of work left to do, not necessarily a failing grade, but it's, you left some things on the table you could have done, I guess. But so he wants to see, generally speaking, see where everybody fell with this, that everybody completed all their labs, all their quizzes, all the midterm, the final practice exam. Get all those done, you receive a voucher, and then you receive a incentive money too for completing the workshop. So that's what to
And when are you doing this write-up?
Probably after the workshop ends, so it'll be after the 24th.
So we still have time to catch up if need be.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yep, yep. Yeah, you have all this whole week to work on it, for anybody. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of work to do, but you still have this whole week to do it. So all it is just taking the time to sit down and go through the labs. So most of the labs aren't going to be too time consuming, so I think you could definitely do it. I mean, it's just the labs, taking the quizzes and the exams, that's, that's all there is. It's all you guys need to do. Then of course we're attending our sessions here today. And some of the expectations was for him that he wanted everybody in on every single session. Some people were gone and had travel, so that's a little bit tricky to do. So the only thing really that we can do is making sure everybody has their labs, quizzes, and just like you see here, all these things need to be done right up here. The labs, quizzes, midterm, and final prep exam. So that brings me to the next thing there, folks, is that in the chat, and I'll put this in the announcements too. Let's see if I can get this thing to come in here a little bit nicer. Okay. All right. So this, I'm just going to type in here. So in the chat box, if everybody takes a look at that. So we have Monday, September 8th. And to recall last week, or it was a week before, we talked about having a little party, a little get together. So do try to keep this on your schedule if that works out for you. And what I mean by that, not necessarily 4:30, but you can arrive at 5 or something like that, or a little bit before 5. And this will be at the St. Mary's University Center, which is right at our campus in Minneapolis there. And what it will consist of will be a little event where we get a chance to meet and greet. So I'll get a chance to see you all and get a chance to say hi to you and have some little refreshments, some food and stuff like that. And then we'll present your certificates to you. And those will be certificates of completion for the workshop. And then it'll be another opportunity for Muhammad, so Muhammad Amin, myself, other school members will be there with our university, and all of you, hopefully, if you can make that trip in so that you can receive your certificate. So your certificate will essentially be probably saying something that you successfully completed the CYBR 1000 workshop with the excellence or good or whatever it might be for achievement. And we'll get a little photo with everybody, and it'll be a fun little thing to do that we can also share amongst ourselves and with Muhammad Amin's office and whatnot. But are there any questions about that at all? I think we decided that maybe 5 to 6 was a good time for most people there. And again, somewhere if you don't have to be there exactly at 4:30, but maybe, around maybe 5 o'clock or something like that. We'll see how that goes. Stay tuned on that. I'll send out an announcement. So keep in mind again, everybody, even after the workshop ends, for probably a couple of weeks, still monitor your St. Mary's email, because there'll still be maybe some things we'll send you for the workshop and, the little certificate event and maybe some voucher information or something like that. So monitor that for a couple of weeks afterwards, and just kind of to keep that on the front burner there too as we go forward. But questions at all? Okay. Very good. All right here, folks. Let's see. Those were the main things that we wanted to discuss. So make sure you're taking that midterm. Go in here, complete all of the week 8 goodies there that you see, and then take that final exam. It's again, it's not graded per se, but it's an achievement score that I'll need to provide, from your efforts. Actually, I think you can take this as many times as you'd like. If that is incorrect, let me know, but I can double check on that. But it should be, you can take that as many times as you'd like. And someone in the workshop here, I believe it was either scored a 94 or a 98. So that was really, really good. So whoever, I think there's only maybe one or two people that tried it, but someone really did quite well on that. So that was great to see. And that's what we were hoping for, that you would do really well for that. So if you're scoring really, really well, that means that you're probably more prepared to take the actual CompTIA Security Plus exam on that. So, but where I like to see this final exam, prep exam, that is, that you're seeing on the screen right now, I think the value of that is to help you learn about what you might need to learn more about before you take that Security Plus exam, the real one. So it's a good barometer of where you are at. Now, keep in mind with a voucher, you only have one try. And I don't know if you can use your notes during that at all either. I do not know if it's timed. I think it might be an hour exam, but I'm not for sure on that. But so make sure that when you're using all the resources here that you have good notes about where you need to brush up on and what you might want to do with that and all of those things. Okay. So that was let's see here. Ishmael, do you have a question? Nope. Maybe not? Okay. No problem. Okay, so those were the big ones. Talking about making sure you stop into his office, you complete all the exams and quizzes. And okay, Ishmael, there you go. Thank you for sending that. Security Plus exam is 90 minutes, no notes. Okay, that sounds about right. I thought it was an hour, but yeah, they have probably the browser locked down, and so they'll keep you moving on that. So yeah, you have okay, only 2 attempts, not unlimited. Okay, I'll check those then once we're done, because we can make those unlimited for you, because that's the whole idea, is that you're learning, practicing there. So not that it's going to make a huge difference on whether you pass the workshop or not. If you take those and you do well with them, you're gonna be okay. But yeah, we'll see. I'll see if I can adjust that to unlimited. Thought the midterm was, but maybe that didn't get set up right or something. But thank you for letting me know that, Ishmael. We'll get that squared away momentarily here. All right. Couple things to be aware of. I'm going to drop these in the chat here again. Let's see if we can open that up. Okay. I will drop in here. Okay, if everyone wants to take a look at the document that's coming through to them right now, that just went into the chat. And this is how to access your CompTIA voucher. So when we get through this week and everything is all set up and done, here's how you will do that. And granted, this is on the CompTIA website too, and it will probably come with directions in your voucher that either I or Muhammad Amin will be sending you. But you will need to take your voucher and run through their website. Now, what this PDF is saying right here is that this is academic pricing for anybody who's in a 2-year or 4-year degree granting institution, which you have a St. Mary's email address, and obviously you're going to be getting a voucher anyway that's free as long as you complete the workshop. And so if, for example, you were interested in purchasing another voucher on your own or something, you could do that under your St. Mary's, or some people might have. It depends on your school's relationship or partnership with CompTIA. If they do not have a partnership, you wouldn't get, I'll call it really cheap discounts. St. Mary's does have a partnership with CompTIA, so we were able to provide really cheap discount exam vouchers to you for Security Plus, for cyber, or for Amazon or Google or whatever it is. We can get those to you pretty cheap. But bottom line is, make sure that you have your St. Mary's email or an institutional email, like an EDU, if you wanted to purchase that. But since you will all be receiving that anyway, that's okay. But another link that I will share with share with you. Did we go through this last week or the week before? Try to remember. Anybody remember if we did? Okay. Well, either way, I'll put these in the chat. Okay, thank you, Samia. Appreciate that. So let's take a look at a couple of these links. And here are a number of the certifications with CompTIA. And originally at the beginning of our workshop, we talked about the value of getting you guys all trained up for getting you some experience to pursue technology types of disciplines or opportunities or industries or careers out there. And CompTIA is a globally recognized certification entity that recognizes certain skills, knowledge, and abilities across different platforms. And some of those that we are looking at in this course, in our workshop, are also recognized with CompTIA. In particular, let's see if we can find Security Plus down here. It might be down here a little ways. You can see that there's a lot of them, a ton of different certification exams. For us in particular, we're looking at this one right here. So we're looking at the security analyst. That's what this one means. And that's what this workshop is designed to prepare you with. So the labs, the readings, the book that you have, the book will be really helpful for you as well. And this is saying that you have an understanding of the core security functions for a career in IT security. So handles these hands-on skills. So a lot of these labs that you're working with kind of mimic those hands-on skills and what's going on in the field of security. So to help you understand what's actually going to be on the final exam itself will be broken down into a number of different objectives. So I think Ishmael said, okay, you got 90 minutes. Here's how your questions will be broken down, probably multiple choice, a little bit more so, or scenario based, but from controls to change management, threat vulnerabilities, mitigations, probably one of the larger ones right here at 22%. So a lot of our labs went through material on that, whether it's readings or if it's the lab. So I know we had a ton on malicious activity, mitigation techniques, and different vulnerabilities. And then security architecture, I think just to have a little awareness of that is important. I mean, we covered a little bit of that, but another big chunk of it down here will be on security operations and oversight, over 20% apiece to kind of round out what's going to be on that exam. So security operations, looking at all types of networks, firewalls, access management, which we spent a lot of time with here, different types of incident response concepts, and then the governance, which is really what our week 8 is about here this week. So looking at all that governance, the risk management, so on and so forth, their audits and security awareness. So everything you have in your course right now, the workshop, is going to be sprinkled in through the actual Security Plus exam with CompTIA. Now there are some other ones out here too. If you're interested in exploring more, and this is really a field that speaks to you, this is a great one to look at as well. This called A+ or A+ Cyber. These are, I will call them a little bit more boiled down basic, which is great because that's what people sometimes really need as well. So you are all starting off with something that's a little bit more than entry level with that Security Plus. So the Security Plus is a little bit, I wouldn't say it's super advanced, but it's a little bit more than a beginner. So it's kind of like beginner intermediate. But this A+ is just perfect as well to add on to your career objectives. Somebody that's just trying to get into basic technology, tech support. This is a great one. Just a great one to look at for your interest in that. Let's say if I'm just going to pick, I'll just pick one of these here to look at. The A+, and there are different versions. So what these versions mean are they're different, I'll call them standards for simplistic terms. They're different standards for what goes into each one of these cores, because technology changes, so does the versions. So they're updating a little bit to what it is that they're expecting for people to have for their careers. But the essentials: hardware, networking, mobile devices, troubleshooting, pretty basic stuff. I mean, we covered some of these already in Security Plus. So these are, little simple things like it sounds funny, but changing batteries, how Wi-Fi works, where troubleshooting, and how does Bluetooth, setting up a basic network, cellular data. Some basic things there, general protocols, hardware, a little bit on cloud computing, software as a service, and some of those other desktop virtualization processes, general troubleshooting. So this is a good little baseline. It's a good baseline to look off of, if you're interested in boosting your skill set beyond this workshop. If you are interested in that, as long as your St. Mary's email is still active, you can go and purchase an A+ voucher, and then you can study up for it. I don't think the study regiment is going to be all that complicated as in comparison to what it is for Security Plus. So, that can be a nice little guide to you. But nevertheless, I have this link out here, the URL, so that you can see what's all out there, what's happening with the certifications. You can see that it's kind of all over the place. A lot of different things out there, and what to be mindful of. So right now, it was Security Plus for our course here. There are also a couple of other links here I want to pull up for you. In particular, let me drop this in the chat. All right, so I dropped that in the chat for everybody. And this is the exam policy. So Ishmael, I think when you dropped your chat in before, maybe you were here, but these are the general certification exam policies. So general testing policies, how things are scored, accommodation, responsibility of educators, code of ethics, and all that stuff. And registering for your exams, you can set it up to take it at a particular time, things like that. And let's see here, delivery policies, well, you'll be receiving yours. Okay. If something happens or we need to retake your exam, what are the cases for that if that does in fact happen? So if you're out of the country. So anyway, this is here for you to take a look at. And voucher terms and conditions, let's take a look at that, because this is what you will be receiving right here. Let's just go into here. So all of our voucher purchases are final. That's okay, because if you complete the workshop, you will be receiving a voucher. So that is okay. So some of those terms are that you wouldn't be able to transfer those between providers, and you must register and take your exam prior to the voucher expiration date, which should be 1 year. But Mohammed Amin may want you to take that sooner or later. I will leave that up to him. Okay, let's see. Anything else of importance in here? Okay, that's the main thing, is just, I think, to get registered and take that within the expiration date, and how to schedule your exam. So depending on what email you have, whether or not, you still have your St. Mary's email. Your St. Mary's email will remain active for a while. In a year from now, it may not be, if at the end of the activity period, it may shut down, in which case, you'll still have your voucher, which is good, but you may need to use then your personal email for that, to schedule your exam appointment time. Okay, so just some basic things there. All right. And pricing is the one last one I wanted to look at. So the cost of the vouchers just went up. So all of these have a fee on them. And let's see if we come down to our Security Plus again. Okay, so if you were to go purchase this outright currently, that would be about $425. Now, that's a pretty cool thing with this grant that you are all a part of, is that this voucher is being paid for you, as long as you complete the workshop. So that's a pretty sweet deal. $400 or $500 is a pretty cool gig. So any questions or anything like that that anybody might have? Any questions? Okay. Oh, yep, we have a chat here. Nope. Okay, perfect. So those are a few things I wanted to share out with you all in our remaining time here, is a little bit on those certifications, a bit about that. So we know week 8, we know week 7, we know all the exams we need to complete. That's all good. So I think we are all set up on that. The last thing I wanted to encourage you to think about a bit was that of some of St. Mary's Career Services, and this is on LinkedIn, of course, which is one thing I wanted to encourage you all to set up. Just out of curiosity, how many people do have a LinkedIn page, like a professional LinkedIn page where you can kind of connect with networks and people and things like that for different career aspects? Does anybody have a LinkedIn page or have thought about it?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, so actually, yeah, quite a few people do. So that's really cool. I mean, that you do that. I mean, feel free to connect with me if you'd like to do that. It'll always be fun to stay engaged. I mean, so that you can kind of see, it does happen where I do receive a lot of, well, it depends on different times of the year, but people will send me contacts, for example, to say, hey, do you have anybody that you could recommend for this position? And they will go to usually like a first or a second layer deep in connections. So, if you have a first, like a direct connection, or a second level connection, something that's kind of affiliated with the school, or kind of rather than just a follow, really. So that if your invitation, and you accept, you connect on there, that's kind of like a first level. A lot of recruiters look for that, to say like, okay, how are you reputably connected to different people on here? So definitely do check that out. Now, there's also that is building your LinkedIn page, and make that a good professional presentation of who you are and what you want to do. Now, let's say you decide that technology isn't quite your thing. That's okay. It still might be good to set up a page like this. And I call this our digital brand. Set up your own digital brand so that you can help sort of promote yourself professionally out there, because it is a great way to get out there and have a good brand about yourself. Not necessarily a Facebook or something else that might be kind of wackadoo fun and crazy, but just something a little bit different that's more professional for who you are and what you want to represent from the career landscape. Now, what I have up here as well, just on my page, is just the career services at St. Mary's. And so I will take you into the career services here as well. But our career services just launched our LinkedIn page as well. So you can feel free to connect with them. But there's always things in here going on about jobs and connections, internship, career fairs. We do have a pretty cool process within the university called Handshake. And some of you, if you are in school right now too, may also have access to that. But look with your career services and their ability to connect with people. Now, right now, in the business and tech arena, there is a little bit of a lull, I would say, right now in the hiring processes. Not because there's not a demand, but honestly, companies they're waiting to see what's going to go on. Interest rates have slowed hiring. A couple of years ago, we started seeing inflation go off the charts and interest rates rise. And past couple of years, so 2-3 years ago, we've kind of started to see a slowdown a little bit in hiring because of that. So not entirely, but most of it. And usually when interest rates drop, then companies invest money into innovation because it's cheaper. And then they are able to then hire more people. And another aspect of that is also companies are, okay, thank you, Chanel. Companies are also interested in see what AI is going to do too. So I think that's the other side of it. And so there's definitely a need for security technology people out there, but we need to come out of where we were 2-3 years ago. And we're right now, nationally, we're trying to kind of adjust those things, and then hopefully interest rates will start falling, and then companies will start hiring again. So that's why it's good to have a LinkedIn page, to be present on there, be engaged. That's why it's a great other endorsement to have your CompTIA certification plus exam completed, as well as the workshop, and the certificate of completion for the workshop is a beneficial thing. So these things are designed to help you. But whether it's St. Mary's Career Services or something else with your own institution, that's great too. So just wanted to mention, and we do have St. Mary's Career Service on our main St. Mary's page as well, where you can go up and set a little profile, connect with our human resource, or not human, or career services. This again assumes that, perhaps down the line there that either you're connected with St. Mary's or something along the way, but there's a lot of opportunities. Look at your own school, look around on LinkedIn, start to connect with different agencies, organizations, people on there, and that's something to take note of. All right, let's see. Questions or anything like that that folks might have? Okay, then I wanted to leave some time at the end here for questions, and this just a small percentage of us here kind of hanging on in our last week together. So summary items one last time before we adjourn then. So 1, complete all your labs, complete all your quizzes, complete the midterm, complete the final practice exam. I will go in and make sure that those have unlimited attempts for you in there. It doesn't mean that you should, take it 50 times or something like that. I'll probably put it like 5 times or something or whatever, or 10 or whatever. You should be able to do fine within that. But that's the first thing. Complete everything in the workshop. Secondly, go into Muhammad Amin's office, ideally by the end or before Sunday, the 24th. If you need to go in there early next week, you could probably do that. Just arrange it with him first. So give him your state ID, your social security number. I will then be giving him your completion information for him to decide how he disperses the incentive money and your access to your CompTIA voucher. So those are 1 and 2. The third item is on September 8th from 4:30 to 6. You can come maybe around 5. We'll have our celebration of our workshop on the campus. So over in the chat box, again, you can see that. That'll be at the St. Mary's University Center. I will send out a follow-up email announcement. It'll be an announcement. Come to your St. Mary's email, detailing all of these summary items again, so that you have them, and directions and things like that. So that is the third thing. And the fourth thing is, do continue to monitor your St. Mary's email for several weeks after our workshop ends, so that if something happens, we can figure out how to get you your vouchers and work with you on all of those things that are there. Does that make sense? Or questions about anything with those goodies? Okay. So if you wanted to stick around for a little bit with some other questions, otherwise, the last little bit of time we just had for Q&A, I wanted to leave about 15 minutes. So otherwise, we'll hopefully see you all on the 8th. Monitor your emails, stay in touch, and complete your labs, quizzes. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Samia. We'll see everybody soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep, bye.
I sent you a message on Canva. I don't know how to, my email is not working, but I sent you a message on Canva.
Got it. Okay. Yep, I'm just in here now, so got it. Okay. I'll take a look at that here. See who else is hanging out. Okay, Afia, Samia. Okay. I'm just opening those up.
Also, is this like our last Zoom meeting?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
yep. Okay. All right, so yeah, I'm just looking at that here now, the performance report. Yeah, so it looks like, okay, interesting. Yeah, so you have them all done. That's weird.
Yeah.
Hmm. Actually, you know what? I think I can go in there and check that out too.
Okay. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Yeah, because I do remember that. So a lot of this right now is with our labs, I can't always see what's going on behind the virtual window, you know, for our labs. And so but you know, the plumbing work and everything. But based on what you told me, I can go in and I'll assess where everybody's at from a standpoint of uh just what you showed me. So I'll be able to
Okay.
validate and go through all of that.
Okay.
So no problem at all on that there, Afia, and we'll get you all squared away on that.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's
Yep,
been really
if there's anything that comes up weird or anything, I'll let you know, but we
okay.
should be okay.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Yep, you too. See, send me let's see. Questions. Okay. All right, so that should conclude our session here, given that all questions are answered here.